Good morning, guys. Summer here at Greensboro Downtown Yoga for today's Yoga for Athletes class. And I thought it would be fun because we're starting to walk around barefoot in our flip-flops and all today to work on our feetsies. Yep, feet are the foundation of everything that we do, right? If you think, especially in sport, when you run, you jump, everything starts in our feet. But how often do you actually take the time to work on your feet, the strength and the mobility of your toes and such? So that is our fun for today. You're going to need a ball of some sort. So you'll notice here I've got quite a collection of different ones. And I'll save it for the end. If you stick around, or maybe throughout class I'll talk about it, but different sizes, different textures, different densities. Essentially, you want one that isn't quite as hard as a baseball. That would be really tough. Isn't quite as small as a golf ball. So like a tennis ball works really well, especially if you're first getting used to this. If you've done things like this, you might be able to be okay with a golf ball as well. We are going to use those toys and your mat. So make sure your shoes are off and we will get going. We're going to start standing. And just look down at your feet and notice how they are, just naturally standing. Now I want you to shut your eyes and just kind of move for a moment with your eyes shut. And land in how you would naturally stand and look down. Do you notice if there's a difference? For me, now this foot is a little bit more rotated out. It's just something to be aware of. It might be a hip mobility issue, it might be tightness in your feet. It could be like for me, an ankle injury, but we wanna get our feet straight forward. And spread your toes. We're going to do this at the beginning and the end. Lift one heel off the ground and lower. And just kind of notice how that feels. Now take and just kind of roll it to the side. You didn't realize that your feet actually have the most muscles, bones, tendons, ligaments in one compact area than any other spot in your body. Compacted there and together in the amount of space that they have. So they're really important to do things like this. And if you're noticing a lot of crack, 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 yeah, that's pretty common. You're just going to take your right foot, stand on it, and just notice. Don't do anything, but just kind of balance. And go to the other foot. I'm not giving you any cues specifically because I want you to just kind of notice what do you naturally do. You might be falling all over the place. I love balance, so I do it fairly often, so I'm not teeter-tottering too bad right now. But some days, ooh. All right, now take your toes, spread them wide, and pick them all up. Spread them wide, pick them up. So it's like you're making little piano fingers with your toes. Looks like this. Find that space between each toe. Let's do the other foot. With that foot that you were just working, can you keep the spread as we now focus on this foot? Just notice right now all 10 toes. Lift everything up together. Find the space and let your little pinky toe, your fourth toe, your third toe, your second toe, and your big toe come up or go down, and then lift up. Big, second, third, fourth, fifth, and just play the piano just like this with your toes. And you might really have to think about it. Like I really have to look at it. I've gotten a lot better. But we're gonna call these our smart toes. And are you feeling the muscles in your feet working? Yeah. So one more time. Now take all 10 toes, spread them out, push them into the floor. And as you do, you're gonna go whoop and lift your arch. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna come a little closer. So you're gonna go 10 toes on the floor and then whoop, lift your arch. So you get this nice high arch in your foot. We're gonna call this your foot arch, because it is. We have palm arch in our hand. All right, or we're gonna call them smart toes. Smart toes, suction cupped in. Do you feel how when you do that, your glutes turn on? Now keep your right foot smart toes and lift your left leg. And notice, did your balance improve? Maybe, maybe not. Success. If you're feeling like your foot on the ground is cramping a little bit, that's really common, especially because we haven't strengthened or mobilized into those yet. Come back down. Just take onto the tops of your feet and roll. I want you to remember all that and how it felt. Now, grab your ball. You're going to take the ball and place it under one foot and just start to roll. Get really all over your foot. Don't focus in on one area right now. Just kind of find movement. Now as a runner, I think one of the most common things that I would feel after a long run was my calves got so tight. And I would go get massages and they would go into my feet, and I didn't realize how tight my feet were because of how tight my calf was. You're gonna see that in a little bit. We're gonna mess with our calves, but we just don't always realize how tight our feet get until we do something like this. Find a tender spot. A sleeping ball, that happens. So maybe it's right on your arch. For me, that arch is really tender. Just put weight into it. If you are susceptible to what people mainstream call shin splints, where you get that tightness up into your feet or into your shin, right here, that tibialis anterior muscle, oftentimes it's because our feet and our arch weren't working properly, move into another spot. And thus, those shin muscles, your tibialis anterior, has to work overtime. So, doing something like this might help if you have a tendency, especially individuals whose feet are a lot flatter naturally and haven't worked on developing that arch. Switch and do the other foot. Ooh. You should feel kind of like, it's this weird sense of like pleasure pain, right? My physical therapist always says feels so good. Again, just kind of roll all over and be aware. Does one side feel different than the other? And it's pretty common that they will. Seems like feet right now are such a common thing that we're learning more and more about. I've taken 2 different courses over the past year, both in the yoga space, and really been focusing on feet and the importance of that foundation. I've always really been a strong believer as a dancer and as a runner and just all the sports I've done all over my life. Find that tender spot and hold. How important they are, but it's kind of nice to see the mainstream literature catching up to what I always intuitively felt in my brain. Find another tender spot. And if you notice too, like if you put more weight on it, it's going to be more intense. So if you lean back a little bit more, it's less intense. And that's kind of your ability to control how much tension you're putting on it. Good, let's release that. Take your feet and again, just kind of roll over them with the heels. Does it feel different? Think about it for a moment. All right, we're going to come to a seated position. You're going to take your legs, sit however is comfortably for you. We're going to do a little foot massage. And doesn't matter which foot you start with. Just take that foot and cross it over. And again, you can sit out here, you can have your foot on a block, you can be doing this in a chair. Just whatever's comfortable for you. You're going to take your hand and thread your fingers through your toes. So it's like that. So they call it the yogi handshake. So it's like you're giving yourself a little handshake. And you're going to move your toes back and forth. And we're going to do this for a short period of time because I don't want to over intensify and get too deep, because especially if this is your first time, the feet can then get a little tired and cranky. Make circles both directions. But as you do this, you can go back and watch this video. I've got another video on feet on the channel. You can just get longer into it and intensify the needs of your body. Take your hands out. You're going to take your 2 knuckles and just draw lines down your foot. And so what you're trying to do right here is, this is very similar to what we were doing with the ball, but now we're going just a little bit deeper. That was kind of that, like you think about a massage and they start off. Now we're starting to get even deeper into it. Take your thumbs and you're going to go into your feet like that. So it's like I'm right here and I'm just going up and down. I have this, I think it's a mole on my foot, and my husband's been worried about for years. I don't know why I feel like I need to tell you this, but I just noticed it, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to go check it out, right? More exciting, I can tell you about the tattoo on my foot, right? That's more exciting than the mole I just randomly noticed. All right, take that now. This is going to be where we're going to start to get into your calf a little bit. Now take your foot, place it on the floor, and right down here at the base is your Achilles tendon. You just kind of want to push around it and start to feel if there's tension into that area. And then take your entire hand and you're just going to push. So I'm doing like this, into the back of my leg, up into my calf. And then just kind of where you feel tightness, go up and down. We're going to do this with a ball in a moment, but it's going to be pretty intense. So I want you to get some blood flowing into it right now. We don't think about calves. Like, I really, truly never realized, okay, you're going to take those knuckles and go just kind of pound it or go up and down, kind of whatever feels good to you. I never realized how tight my calves were until I started getting massages when I was running a lot. And oh my gosh, it was like, hello. I always knew my calves were or my quads were tight, but that was crazy. All right, take your hand and make big sweeps down. So sweeping down that foot. And down on the front of the leg. Great. And then take hand and do that same thing on the bottom of your foot. So just making those big sweeps. Good. And let's switch feet. So start off by bringing and threading those fingers between your toes and give yourself that little handshake. And you know, we are desperately in a time when we talk lots about hand washing and even more than we normally do. And with this, please make sure to wash your hands after, right? Like, you don't want to go give someone else a handshake. Not that we're giving handshakes right now, but if you were, you don't want to shake someone's hand. Make little circles. Such a weird time right now. Notice this side. Like, for me, this big toe is a lot tender. It's not wanting to move as much. All right, let's take those 2 knuckles and slide down your foot. And one thing that can feel really nice is if you take like some type of essential oil or something and rub it on the bottom of your foot while you do this, and then it just adds that element of relaxation to it. Let's take the thumbs, and it's fabulous. So I'd encourage you, if you have any around your house, or even I had a friend once who was doing this in a class, and she gave us little, like, what it was CBD oil. It felt fabulous on the feet. If you have something like that, too. Place that foot onto the ground and let's pinch into that Achilles. And it's just really nice to kind of notice right around that area, because trust me, you do not want to mess up a ligament in your ankle, and especially the Achilles. I mean, I'm lucky that it wasn't my Achilles, I think, although maybe I would have been a little bit better because I knew how to fix that a little better. Thumbs into the calf. Yep, those who haven't heard, how long ago was it now? It's been about 13 years. Oh, probably almost a little bit, I was rock climbing and I fell, and I tore the ligament in my ankle. And then 5 weeks later, I was getting married, so I was like, I'm not going to get surgery before my wedding, like, no. So I walked around on it for 7 weeks because of my wedding honeymoon. Let's take those knuckles. Then I had surgery and I recovered and became the big running athlete that I was. And about 5 years ago, I started hurting all the time. Found out that the surgery I had failed. And my bones, instead of being like that, had become like that. Right? So I walked around on that for a couple more years because they said there really wasn't any options. Safe hands, big sweeps. And 3 years ago now, I had another reconstructive surgery where they put a pin, 3 cadaver ligaments, tried to pull it into place. It is what it is. Reached down. Alright, how are those feet feeling right now? I hope they feel kind of nice. We're going to take your ball again. Now, I told you that this would be a little intense. You're going to play your ball into your calf, and let's start a little bit higher. And what you're going to do is just kind of roll around on that big meaty part called your gastrocnemius. You're going to roll around on that. So I know ankle injuries. Needless to say, my running and jumping days are pretty much behind me. I was on the walk yesterday, I got caught in the rain, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have to run home. But then it stopped raining, so I was like, if you start to notice, is there a place that's a little tender? Let's stay there. Just kind of breathe into it. If you notice how I have this ball right here that has those spikies on it, this is going to allow for more deeper pressure points to go in. So like this ball right here is kind of smooth, and this one where those different spikes are is going to allow for even deeper stretch. Let's find another spot. Let's actually roll it down a little bit lower. I got these on Amazon super cheap, and now I want you to actually roll up and down. So sometimes for me, I like to do this on my hands. The one that I'm using right now is from a brand called Trigger Point, which is a big company. No affiliation with them, I just like them. And they make a little kit that the balls are just a little bit denser, so that helps get a little bit deeper. Do you notice how I'm kind of shifting my leg around? That's going to help you get deeper into that muscle. Let's go right around that bottom calf, into that soleus and the connection into your Achilles and tendons. Yes, there's lots of different brands, especially right now, because mobility tools like this are pretty popular. There's so many different brands. You can find things on Amazon pretty easily. Okay, you're gonna relax that. You're gonna take the ball. Now you just kind of have to find a comfortable way to sit for this. Like I like to sit in this 90-90 position. You might prefer to be stretched out here. It really doesn't matter. You're going to take that ball and it's going to go on to your tibialis anterior. For anyone who has shin problems, this is going to be really intense. So I encourage you to sit up taller as you do it. If not, you could lean into it and get pretty deep into that muscle. Yeah, so what I mean by density is just how hard that ball is, right? Like you can see this one, I can kind of squish into it. Where this one that's a racket ball, I cannot, or sorry, a lacrosse ball, I cannot. And that's just the harder it is, obviously, the more intense it's going to become for you. Release that, stretch it out. Just take that leg, kind of point and flex the foot. If this is your first time ever doing any type of rolling into your calves and shins, make sure to move after this. Like we're going to do a little flow because it really does get those deep muscles. Also make sure you're drinking lots of water. That's going to be important. Let's do the other side. So start off on the big meaty part of the muscle. Just roll back and forth. And this for me is where it's like you're going over a railroad track. Bump, 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 bump. Or not railroad track, but like those things on the side of the road that you're like, yeah. It's because my gait is a little different with how my ankle is. And so. Notice the difference too when you point and flex your foot. That is going to change how this feels. Find a spot that's tender and just going to stay in it. An option if you want even more intensity is you would cross your legs. I'm going to stare. It's very intense for me. Let's go just a little lower and go side to side again. So your calf actually has two muscles in it. You have this big meaty one up here called the gastrocnemius, and then sitting underneath it, and it attaches down here at that calf, or excuse me, at that Achilles tendon, is your soleus. And those two muscles, that really deep one, that's where when you're kind of going right in this middle part, that oftentimes is what gets really tight. Right, let's go up and down with it. Remember, roll your foot in and out, find the different pathways. There's no perfect way to do this, it just kind of is. And the one thing that I often find myself doing is the part that needs it the most, and I ignore because it hurts the most, right? So if you find a spot that really needs it, just go there and find it. And let's release. Let's do that lovely shin. Oh, I know this is going to be tender. So in that spot again, it's on the side. It's not on the top, which is a lot of times what people want to do. But you want to go on the side. That's really where the meaty part of the muscle is, your tibialis anterior. Very nicely named because it's on the front of the tibialis, the tibia, sorry. Oh. Again, notice, just be aware. For me, it's like right there. I'm like, oh, let me just push into it. You ready to be done with this? I think I am. All right, put that off to the side. Let's sit, lengthen our legs, and just kind of point and flex. How do the feet feel? Maybe a little bit like, move your toes. Remember I told you we were going to finish how we began? So, what I want you to do, flip around. Find a plank position, and then actually just lift to downward dog. Downward dog has this really great opportunity to stretch, bend your knees, and stretch and lengthen the back part of those calves. You might find, especially if you do and have done yoga, that, oh, look, your heel can get a little bit lower. So that gives you that information of, is that simply because you are so tight in that calf and those feet that is limiting you. Like the pin in my ankle is limiting my left ankle, but the mobility and tightness in my right limits my right. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. Roll yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. Stand tall, feet right underneath you. Lift all 10 toes off the floor. Press all 10 toes down. Suction cup your feet in. Big lift high to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, step back to plank. Downward dog. Walk your feet in to meet your hands. Feel that length in the back of your calf. Inhale, halfway rise. Notice if you're normally really tight in your hamstrings, are you able to get a little bit lower? Inhale, or a little bit more length. Come down, lift all 10 toes. Lower them down. Lift your right heel. Stand up tall. Find this long length at the top of your head. Now keep the right foot on the ground. Lift the left foot. Are you able to find that suction cupped foot a little bit easier? Lift up. Other foot. Or maybe your feet are tired now, which is common as well. Big deep inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Now in this, I want you to find that length at the back of your hips. So you're finding that push back. As you do, those calves attach into the hamstrings and you get that length. Fold over, step back to downward dog. Pedal the feet, 1, 2. Lower your heels, now walk your feet in to meet your hands. Roll up. As you do, immediately take the left foot, push it into the ground. Bring your right foot high to the sky. Balance is so much about our feet, right? Bring the foot down, big deep inhale. Lift the other leg off the ground. Come down. Let's do it one more time. And get that flow in a way that allows our feet to work, our calves and hamstrings to stretch. Step back to plank, downward dog. Bend your knees a couple times. Walk our feet to meet our hands. Let's find the space between our toes. Roll up. Notice if you have more space this time than you might have at the beginning. Lift your right foot simply from that yogi handshake. Place and get the space between your toes as you lift up. Exhale down. Let's take a big deep inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to downward dog. Bend your knees, sit in the child's pose. Walk your hands forward. And find a seated position. Beautiful work today, guys. Just that little tiny flow there at the end. I hope you got some movement back into or some blood flowing back into those feet and calves. Again, just notice over the next day or so, how do your feet feel? They might be a little tired, they might be a little tight. It's just that getting used to working and strengthening the feet as well as mobilizing them. So I hope you continue to work your feet. And until next time, I'm Summer. Bye. And as I said, I'll give you just another quick little rundown of the different balls that I have here as a information. So this one, I was talking about density, so how hard the ball is. This one I can kind of push into. It's firmer than a tennis ball. I didn't bring a tennis ball because my dog was using all of them. But you can push into a tennis ball fairly easily, right? Which gives it that give, which is why when you're first starting, it's great. This is fairly this would be in between a tennis ball and this, which is a lacrosse ball. It does bounce because it's a lacrosse ball. But if you notice, I cannot push into that at all. This is going to be the most intense for our general population. There's one out there, I didn't bring it with me, but it's called a rumble ball. And it's super intense, or super ball, by Rogue Fitness, so you can check them out. Again, no affiliation, I just like them. This one with the spikies, this one is a little bit denser than this one. Notice that kind of pressure point. So this is really great, again, like I said, if you're running to get a little bit more intense into specific areas. It just is a little bit different. I really like these into like my shoulders and my neck, personally. And then I have this one right here that kind of looks like a bouncy ball. It kind of is. And this is a really great one once you're more familiar with doing feet to get deeper into it. So if like I'm gonna roll on that, it's gonna be smaller, so it's gonna get more intense. So it's like that idea of using your thumb versus using all of your knuckles or all of your hand into it. A golf ball would be even more intense than this. The thing with a golf ball is I find it slides on the floor a lot, but they're really great to use. Yeah, and there are so many companies, like I said, that offer these things out there. I think these came from Amazon, this came from Amazon. That, like I said, is Trigger Point. This is a company called Melt Method. Yeah. If you've got questions about the different mobility balls and such out there, shoot me a comment. Let me know. Thanks, guys. Bye. I'm going to follow up with this because Mike just asked me if I can pick things up with my toes. I can. Look at this. So it's one of my favorite things to be able to do is I can take that ball and pick it up with my toes right there. I actually, as a kid, have always been that person to like pick things up with my feet. If I'm feeling really lazy, like if I want to come down and pick up this, I'm going to go and pick it up. So yeah, I can get that deep integration with my feet. Not as great with my left foot, simply because of the horribleness of my ankle, but I still can. And it's actually a really great tool, and I was going to do it in another video. I didn't want to do it today. But if you take like a towel and you start doing toe grabs, so like I can, since I'm now talking, if you have something like this, and I just start to, this one might not work super well because it has groovies on the bottom. Let me try it this way. And I can start to move it. This isn't a great towel for it. But you can use, there we go. You can use that kind of toe strength to start moving and getting a towel to come in. And that's a really great foot and ankle and calf strengthening. So great question, Mike. Yes, I can pick things up with my toes and ask my family. I do it all the time. So, bye.